Alright, I started out with, in these other three belly bands, using some Tim Holtz tissue backgrounds as my background, which made it very easy to cover them. And I have all these. I'll put links in the description box. Anyway, I just really love these, and I have not, I don't think, done anything with his birdie collection. It's called Avery, and so I think I will pick that out and use that. I like the colors. And this is 6 inches tall, which is perfect for getting 3 of these 2-inch. Does it look like a... Wait a minute. Is this a different? No, it's 6 inches. So I can get 3 belly bands out of a single strip of this. And so I need a little more than 12 inches. Okay, I would lose that birdie on that side. So if I capture that one, I need to tear this off approximately. Let's try and get it straight. And I'm going to come slightly in and tear that off. It didn't tear so good. I should have just taken a wet brush. You can take just water and run it over. It kind of disintegrates and tears apart very easily. Whereas if you use a, something like Mod Podge or some sort of wet media that has, an adhesive compound in it, that won't happen. It only happens if you use clear water. Anyway, so I'm going to cut off. I'll set this aside for a minute, and I'm going to cut off roughly 12 inches. And so that puts us at about a little more than here. Very strong adhesive on this carpet tape. I can't remember if I told you in this video that the carpet tape is 2 inches wide. Here's what it looks like. I'll have a link below. So now I just take, and I turn this over, and then I take my strip, and I'm going to line my strip up with the edge of the paper as best I can. Now, because this is very thin tissue paper, it's not going to have laid down 100% perfectly on the other side. That's okay. If there's little creases and stuff, that just adds to the vintage look and feel. But doing it this way is, I think, the safest way to adhere. So you can see what that looks like. set it aside and cut myself another piece. And there will be 3 altogether. So we will fully utilize the tissue paper design. And I'm not going to worry at this point as to where the images fall. I'm just going to lay it in as background, knowing that I will probably need to add some additional ephemera on top. You could leave it plain if you like, or you can add more. It's all depends on your personal taste and your goals for how you want to use it. So I'm going to butt this one right up as close as I can get. And lay that in. And burnish it down from behind. I think I need to mention in this video, which I did in the other one, that if you use carpet tape or any industrial double-sided tape like this, don't use it if you plan on using your sewing machine or sewing by hand, because this adhesive is very strong. It's not something that ultimately dries, and it will totally wreck your sewing machine or even any needle that if you tried to do it by hand. So if you plan on sewing, use wet glue or a glue stick to create your belly band, and do not use this type of tape. You definitely don't have to worry about your imagery popping off this, but it does have its downsides. It's not the easiest to work with when you're trying to cut a piece off, that's for sure. And like I say, you don't dare try to sew on anything like this. Okay, here's our last strip. Flip this over. And I'm going to try to line this one up with the edge of the paper on this side. Alright, now as you can see, probably, there's little creases in here, and I said that's perfectly fine. It just adds to the vintage look and feel. But you might want to spend a little time burnishing from the top too, to kind of flatten those out. Don't really have any in the center. This one laid down quite well. There's very little creasing that was done. I'm going to cut it from the back side so I can see where the tape is, and just come down right along. My might not even really need the blade there, but I do it just to be on the safe side, so I don't accidentally cut. And that's sliding along between the two strips of tape very nicely. Let's see how well it pulls apart. I guess I didn't press quite well enough on this one. I do have a slight overlap on the tape on this one end. Okay, so now we have our 3 strips nicely separated. And I want to come back and clean up the edges. I'll start with this one because it's the nastiest edge. And here we'll do the same thing, clean it up a little bit, get it nice and straight. And here they are, looking quite cool. I don't know what that is. I think it's a bit of adhesive that mounted up underneath, which is unfortunate, but no matter. So now you've got, you know, these random birds. Oop, this one's upside down. Oh no, we had one who we lost his head. Other than that, you know, it looks quite good. And we've got quite a bit of open area over here, which you may like and want to leave alone, or you may want to kind of do something there to make that a little more interesting. I think that what I will do is maybe something over the top of this one to take care of the bird's head, but it's not really essential. Now, what I did with these, I used a background that really had nothing representational. There were no birds or butterflies or anything. They were just a series of documents that filled the entire page. So then I came in with additional little layers of documents and tickets and doodads and whatnot, and added a dangle to each. But this is a bird of a different feather, pardon me, because it's already filled with quite a bit of representational art and imagery. So I have to think about what I would do differently with this, and let me come back with some thoughts. So I'm back. I'm not going to do very much to these. I think they're just so beautiful as they are. I'm going to add this butterfly up here and put that dangle, and then I'm going to add the number 8 here and a dangle over here that color coordinates with everything. Down here I put this 6 over the bird that lost its head, and so we're gonna just remove him from the scene. I'm going to stick this butterfly in here, and down here I'm going to hang another color coordinated dangle. And that's all I'm going to do to these, with the exception of inking around the edges. So let me go ahead and attach what I've got here. The dangles, I have to open up the jump ring after making a hole and then insert it. So if you are going to work with dangles, I advise you to get some small tools to make it easy to open up jump rings, as you will need to do that an awful lot, so it's worth investing in the tools. I'll show you what I have in a minute. I love numbers. They can just come in so handy, and I think they really I think they really add a lot, especially if you're into vintage or anything. They're just so versatile. Butterflies as well. I use lots and lots of butterflies. You can never have enough of those on hand in a wide variety of colors. They are just add so much and do so much for being so little. Alright, so apart from adding the dangles, these are going to be pretty much done. So now I want to make sure that the dangle hangs below, so I have to get my hole within about a 1/4 inch up from the end. Then you'd have 2 small pliers that come in very handy for opening up jump rings. Had to open these up once just to get them on the dangle, and now the thing about jump rings, which is really tricky and hard, kind of hard, and you have to really practice at it. At least I sure did. You don't want to pull them open this way. You'll never get it closed back up again. You want to hold one side in place and then push the other side away from you. And then I think it's easier to work by hand at that point to feed the jump ring through the hole that you made. Let me get it going. Okay, so now it's through, and now my job is to reconnect that jump ring as best as I can to close it up, and so it closed up rather nicely. And I want to put that opening at the back. Now, if you added a dangle like this to a belly band, and then you want to use the belly band in a journal, You see, you're going to cut it, say, there and there for a page, and you'll be gluing it on the outer edges, not across the top or the bottom. So that's what makes it possible to have a little dangle on there, because it's not going to be glued flat down and it will still remain loose. I don't know why I'm struggling pulling this around to the other side, but there it goes. I want to close that up a little better so it doesn't fall off. All right. So there we have that. I thought about putting an eyelet on the hole to, you know, make it look more professional, but the thickness of this is just not thick enough to support an eyelet, and so I don't recommend that you do that. You can try it, of course, but I just use the owl then to make the hole. Okay, on this one I want my dangle down here, so I'm going to put a hole right about in there. In case you're wondering about the little musical snippet there, I have a clock that my sister gave me for Christmas one year, and on the hour it plays a snippet of a hymn, which you just heard. And now close it back up. And I like to put the opening of the jump ring at the back. Okay, so we have two, and our final one, this nice little, I don't know what it's a bird of some kind. I'm not an aviary person, so I don't know what type that is. And this is going to go right in here. Notice I'm not putting, if I were to divide these belly bands in half, I am not putting the dangle into the middle of that half. I like everything to be a little asymmetrical. And hopefully that's how it's all going to come out. Again, pushing the side I want to open away from me. Hate to have to open this up again, but working with the concept I came up with, which I hope is different from anyone you've ever seen. It's not opening because that's not the right place. Oh, it looked like that's where it was cut, and I thought, what a perfect reshaping I did. But that wasn't true. I just did not. I was trying to open it where it wasn't cut. Ah, me oh my. I may be a creative person, but no one ever said I was brilliant. didn't get such a good outcome on this particular jump ring, so I'm going to have to work with it a little bit to try to bring it together. And there we go. 3 fun belly bands that I hope are unique and different from anything you've seen on the internet to date. And let me know what you think. Love them or hate them. It's okay. There's something for everyone. Anyway, I'm happy with the way they turned out. If you enjoy this content and find it of value, I hope you'll like and share the video. Please give me a comment. Tell me what you think, what you'd like me to teach you down the road would be helpful. And be sure and visit my Etsy store for other resources, as well as the description box below this video. Until I see you again, this is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.